money, 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 money. Money goes in the bank, which is what we're talking about. Welcome to How Do We Human. This is the podcast where we talk about all of the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
Today we're talking about the bank, which is the bank. But first,
yes,
something I gotta take to the bank. This isn't gonna make sense. Fuck.
Nope.
Fuck. I painted myself into a corner. Evan, how you doing?
Something I'm going to take to the bank, money, but also, Evan, how you doing? That's easy to get out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it was flawless the way that you did it.
Just divert everyone's
No one would have
attention.
said, what the fuck is he talking about?
I'm doing okay, and you can take that to the bank. And by okay,
Hey.
I already told you, but I'm feeling under the weather today. So if I sound under the weather, you can take that to the bank.
Isn't it weird that you live up in the mountains, arguably above the weather, and yet you're feeling under the weather?
Yeah. That'll
What's that
mess with your head.
about? Yeah.
What's that about, man? Maybe that's what this episode is. What's that about?
What's that about?
Listen, I recently went to my favorite place, the grocery store. Which, I've been saying, hey, Stater Brothers, that's where I go. I go there all the time. Yeah, but nearby they opened a grocery outlet, and this is a capitalist America, and those prices are better.
Nice.
So I'm spending a lot of time at grocery outlet now. But not this time. I was at the old Stater Bros hangout. It's where they hang out.
How many brothers are there?
That's a great question. I'm going to guess 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Mater Stater.
Mater Stater. Tomater Stater.
Tomater Stater. Cheese Grater Stater.
Yeah.
Interstater. Anyways,
we got 4, right? Yeah,
yeah, we got 4.
Okay, we can move on. We can move on. It's okay.
We've done it.
So I did improv also.
Yes. We ended all our scenes with, that's okay. We did
we did what we were supposed to, right?
right? That's okay. We're all good. I'm walking around Stater Brothers with my lady. Tip of the hat.
Yep.
And there's a guy. I'm going down the aisle. There's a guy on his phone, and he's got his daughter with him. Daughter, I'd say 11, 12, young. He's on the phone. It sounds like he's doing serious business. No time to pay attention.
What better place to do it?
Yes.
Grocery outlet. Oh, no, excuse me. Stater Brothers. You're right. You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Because that's the high roller grocery store where you live.
Is.
So
Yes.
that is the business center.
Yes, with Mater Stater, Tomater Stater, Cheese Grater Stater, and Interstater.
Yeah.
The
That's
brothers.
4. We got all 4?
We did it! Anyways, so Jocelyn's a little ways ahead of me in the line. They had walked past her first. She's looking at bread. I'm looking at condiments. We tag team this thing.
Yeah.
Save
Divide
some
and
time.
conquer.
She passes by Jocelyn, and then she pushes the cart past me. I'm wearing a Clippers hat. And she goes, Hey, you. I like your hat. Oh, thank you. A little girl says, I like your hat. Maybe she's a Clippers fan. Maybe she just likes the colors of it. I was like, oh, that's nice. Kids that age aren't always just like talkative and giving out compliments like that. Yeah. So it's always cute. It's like, oh, thanks. I went over to Jocelyn and I told her about it. And she said, really? Because when she passed by me,
I fucking hate that hat, dude.
She said when she passed by me, she said, I love your hair.
Wow, so like, nice.
Okay, wait. So, that's not my instinct to go, oh, how nice. My instinct is like, is she just walking around this store complimenting everyone's head?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
The two of you have to stalk this this preteen.
And we have been.
Yeah.
And it's going well.
Great. And when you say it's going well, does that mean you found out you're the only two that have been complimented? Does that mean that you found out that she's complimenting everybody? What does going well mean for this mission?
Results are pending. Going well means we got caught and they decided not to press charges.
Okay, good.
So, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah.
With my Beetlejuice. That's all I can ask for.
Hey, showtime.
Showtime. Hey, Beetlejuice.
Whoa.
It's me. Chris.
Yeah.
How you doing, baby?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Are these good Beetlejuice impressions?
Let us know.
Not sure. Usually I can tell when we've done a bad one or a good one, but I can't tell on these.
My theory is mine's probably pretty good, but it's only because I'm sick.
Oh, fair.
Down here.
Yeah. I am doing all right. Listen, Evan, this is a big deal.
All right.
I have a little spill story. And I don't even know if you consider this like me having spilled something or just a spill that's happened under my care. Because, I bring my backpack to work and, when I had gotten my tooth extracted, they were like, hey, make sure you only have soft foods. And so I was at the point where I was experimenting with like what was like a still solid food, but was soft enough. And as a backup for, I don't know, probably like 6 months at this point, as a backup, I've had a little like a green apple instant oatmeal cup in my backpack.
Love that.
And yesterday when I was looking for another snack that was in my backpack, I opened up my backpack and I find that now 6 months later, this oatmeal cup has opened and spilled all of the oatmeal dust and flakes into the bottom of my backpack.
Damn.
And it's tough because like my backpack now smells delicious. But I know it's going to be such a hassle trying to get that oatmeal dust out of there.
Have you considered just pouring hot water in your backpack?
Oh, and making backpack oatmeal.
Easy backpack.
Yeah.
Backpack oatmeal.
Yeah, offer everybody get a spoon and come on over to my backpack for a tasty morning treat.
I think that'd be nice.
Yeah. But you know what? I appreciate how solution oriented you are to spills. You've spilled so much, you're like, you know what? It's not worth cleaning up.
No.
It's you have to make something new out of
something
the spill.
That's ingenuity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anything more ingenious than the bank?
Great question. No.
Yeah.
It's the most ingenious thing. Give us your money. We'll watch it. We're better at watching it than you are.
Yeah.
Don't
except
ask
for
questions.
those historical times when we have not been good about it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, but you can't live your life on sometimes.
Yeah,
Most of the time.
Right. Most of the time, sure.
Watching it. We're just sitting there watching it.
Just keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
When's the last time you have been to the bank, Evan?
This is a great question. I, like a lot of people, stopped going to the bank pretty much entirely, which it's crazy to think that like in my lifetime direct deposit became a thing. Where it's like I was working jobs where I had to go to the bank every 2 weeks or every month or however I was paid and drop my check off and get that mun into my account. So it's been a while now that I've been direct deposit, like more than a decade. And the only time I'd end up having to go to the bank was for quarters, for laundry, when I was living in LA, because you can't have enough quarters. It costs like $4 in quarters to do a load of laundry. So I always felt weird about that, because even then I would go to the Chase Bank across from the clubhouse where we used to do bad improv.
Yep. Where we used to end every scene with, "Did we do okay?
That was good. That made sense. Okay. But it feels weird to me every time I would go in there, which obviously had to be relatively frequently, because it's hard to find places that are willing to just give you a roll of quarters more and more now.
Yes.
But they were always chill with it, even though I wasn't a member at that bank. I'd just bring a tenner and they'd give me a roll. But every time I walked in there are still so many people in the bank, and they're just like, oh, there's someone taking out a business loan. There's someone setting up a mortgage or something. Like, it's wild to me. And maybe through that, maybe I need a business loan at some point. Maybe the bank re-enters my life as I get older. But yeah, it is so not a part of the closest of my bank that I bank at. The closest one to me is, I think, 2 hours away.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter. Yourself, do you find yourself at the bank?
I do still have to get quarters for my laundry. So I am there maybe once every 2 months. I'll get like $40 worth of quarters and just.
That's the smart way to do it. I was always cheap.
Oh, you just do it. Can I get quarters
10 at a
for
time.
one load of laundry, please?
One roll of quarters would last like 2.5 loads.
Yeah. Yeah, I always get like $40 worth of quarters. And that's the extent really of my banking time. The exception, I think, after the wedding, we had some checks that we had to go in and deposit in person, because sometimes the ATM is like, this is too much for me to calculate, my dude.
What are you talking about?
And so you have to do it with a teller. But other than that, I've really only been going in to get quarters. That's like the extent of my banking time.
Do you feel like, it sounds dumb, do you feel confident going in there and asking for quarters, or do you feel like they kind of don't want you there?
I go back and forth on it, because it's like I know that I have a simple request.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a complicated transaction. And I feel like as long as I'm not rude, they don't mind.
Yeah.
But it is like I don't know. I mean, when I was like, I don't know if you felt this way at Walgreens too, but like when I would work at the cash register or whatever at IKEA, if somebody came through with like one item, I'd be like, great, done. So that's how I equate. Like, I'm still worse than there being nobody at the bank.
Yeah.
But I'm better than most of the other transactions, because I'm also in and out of there so fast. And I've been there where other people are at the other teller windows and, are older than I am, and you would think would have more bank time experience, but also seem to be fully baffled by anything and everything happening in there. So I know that I'm like, I have the game time, the game tape to know that I am not the worst person that they'll have to deal with in there. So I feel okay about it. The only exception is sometimes they have a little sign at the bank. This has been the case for the last intermittently for the last 5 to 7 years, where sometimes they have a little sign that's like, we're out of change. Sorry. None of those cold hard coins.
I don't believe it.
Coin
Lies.
shortage. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that was the big little after COVID hit. It was just like, oh, coin shortage. We're all out of quarters everywhere. And it's like, okay, that is the only way I clean my clothes.
Yeah.
And I'm living alone. I guess I'll just wear the same shirt every day. It brings me to two things. One I'll just be quick about because you mentioned having to go in for something. Well, first off, did you ever have to like bring in a paper check from your workplace to the bank?
I think maybe I had to like maybe the first check, or when I left a job, maybe the last check wouldn't direct deposit. They had to give you a physical one. Yeah. But I can't remember if I went into the bank.
One last fuck you.
Or if I made an amount that was still ATM depositable.
I mostly ask because, again, you talk about going into the bank for something. Did you ever get to experience, and they're gone as far as I can tell. I haven't seen one since I was a kid. Pneumatic tube systems.
Dude, I love a pneumatic tube system. I don't know how often they're used. I think they still use them sometimes in like bank drive-thrus.
That's where I'd always seen them,
but I don't have the bank closest to me does not have a drive-thru, so.
I bet if you drove past and yelled enough, someone would come out.
Yeah, they would walk the tube out to you.
And when you take it back, you got to make a shoop noise, or I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
it's just such a satisfying sound and feeling. The most tactile thing. I just loved it so much.
Yeah, that like a pneumatic tube system for a kid is perhaps the most whimsical thing that's ever existed in the world.
Yeah, kids these days.
They don't know.
They don't know what they're missing out on. I'm going to build my nieces and nephew a pneumatic tube system for Christmas. Honestly, they would fucking love that.
Of course.
What kid wouldn't? That would be thrilling.
I want that.
I'll build you one too.
All right, let's build a pneumatic tube system between our two houses.
All right, it could be done. The other thing you brought up that I wanted to talk about is you brought up Walgreens. And, Walgreens being an example of a place where I did have to go to the bank and cash my check there. Maybe by the time I left, it was direct deposit, I think. But there was a long period of that. Anyways, all this to say, I'm going into a bank piddling around. Like, I got jack shit going on here. Here's my check for $500 I earned over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Give me that or put it in an account, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know if it was just out of like, I want to feel this way, but it was scary. I would volunteer whenever we needed someone to go get change, because we would have a corn shortage. We'd have a corn shortage.
Yeah, that's how you pay
corn
for
up
stuff.
The pneumatic tube. Yeah. No, so I would be given by my boss a little leather bag with like a couple $1,000s in it, and then I would walk to the bank with that in my arm. I'd keep it under my arm and just walk. Broadway in Seattle, not a dangerous place, but not a place I generally like to walk around with a couple $1,000s in my pocket.
Where
But it
do
was
you like to
always
walk around with a couple $1,000s in your pocket?
the club.
Yeah, well, where we all fam.
It's true. But
Isn't
yeah,
it cool that like that suddenly became a major thing 10 years after that show came out or whenever it was?
I guess.
I
I'm not
guess.
even.
I
I'm not
guess
even
it was
sure.
cool.
What am I referencing? I don't even know.
I believe it's a quote from Broad City.
Oh, that sounds right. I've seen some episodes of that, and it's a very funny show. Anyways,
Anyway, you're making your way downtown, walking fast because
walking
you have thousands of
fast.
dollars on your person.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling walking into a bank with big business, even though it literally is the
Yeah.
same. I'm just getting quarters and dimes and pennies and shit. I don't know. I both liked it and was afraid of it. I was afraid of what it would do to me. It all went to my head. I'm the man with quarters now. I always thought about just leaving. Like $2,000 would keep me alive for a long time. Maybe I'll just go to Mexico.
Yeah. These two things that you've brought up have brought up two things that I want to talk about.
Oh, thank God.
You're talking about the pneumatic tubes, the delight that is to see as a child.
Yeah.
The other thing that I remember seeing as a child,
Oh, boy.
when your mom or dad drags you into the bank.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a bowl of very colorful lollipops over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, as a child, you did such a good job being in the bank. You're going to get a little candy treat. I don't even like lollipops, but
it's nobody's first choice.
yeah. But at the same time, you see a bowl of colorful candy and you're like,
and it's free?
And it's free. I get it for just being here.
Yeah.
I love that. That rules. It's like here and the doctor's office are the only two places I can get a free candy that I don't enjoy.
At my bank we went to as a kid, when I was a kid, I'm like, this is my bank. They stocked Dum-Dums. And it just occurred to me, well, how brilliant is Dum-Dums? Like, they're so fucking small.
Yeah.
But in my estimation, easily tastes better than any other of the lollipops. Cheap lollipops, you know? The flavors were good. They were tiny. You're giving people less for about the same amount of money. It's good business.
Yeah. They should call them Smart Smarts.
That's what I was going to say. And the other thing that made you think of?
You think about leaving with that $2,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think that under circumstances where it is mandatory, could you rob a bank?
I've thought about this a lot, for better or worse. There's one bank in particular I'd go to.
I guess let me put a quick caveat on here. Do you think you could rob a bank and get away with it?
Right. The answer, having overthought it, is no. I don't know that it's like really possible today.
Yeah,
I'm sure people do it, but you definitely don't hear about it as much as you used to in the Old West.
Right.
When there was one police officer and you could go, oh, he's over there. I'm going in here. Just put a little mask over my face. They'll never find me. No, there was a particular bank in McClary we would go to because my friends banked there. And so I never had business there. I would just sit in the chair. And there was just an open view to the vault. And the vault was open. And I'm like, why? Why is this vault open? Is it just to get me thinking, like,
yeah,
what would be involved in actually robbing this place? Not, and again, I say again, but it's the first time I'm actually saying this. I was never going to rob a bank. That was never an actuality in my life. But it's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about.
That's
I also don't think I could do it, but I do like. I think I could get away, and this is an arrogant thought, I guess, because
Okay.
I don't
Here
think
we
I could get
go.
away with robbing a bank, but I do think I could get away with robbing like convenience stores.
Oh yeah, that feels doable.
Yeah.
Unless they carry a shotgun like they do in the movies, that doesn't always go well.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, this is something much like you that I've thought about. And the key is to build out a crew, right? Where everybody
Sure.
has, their own unique personality and skill set.
Like an improv team.
Yeah. All right, we should get our improv team back together
1,
and
2,
rob
3, 4, 5,
convenience
6,
stores.
7, 8.
Please just take the money. All right, guys, we're going to do a robbery, but we need one word to get started.
Don't.
I heard don't.
Don't.
Don't makes me think of something you don't want to happen.
Great. All right, let's go. Hey, knock, knock, knock. I'm here. I know you don't want me to be here, but here I am. This is a good scene.
And then, of course, when we leave the convenience store, we're like, we did that right? We
did
did
that
everything.
right.
We got all the money we were supposed to.
Listen, Scoober's got legs. That's all I have to say. I've had this thought, not about bank robberies, but that puts it into the same category for me. That feels impossible and borderline along the lines of the David Fincher movie, The Game, where
Sure.
I would need to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
But a bank robbery feels along the lines of like that could be possible. I'm thinking like you go into an escape room. It's an experience that's not normally going to happen to you. You're going to try to solve puzzles and do it. Just a fake bank. And just you pay the $60 or whatever to go in there. And if you succeed, you get your money back. No, I don't know. Just like maybe changing the setup. There's a bunch of different bank rooms. And you get to just plan out a heist with you and your friends and see if you could pull it off.
You mentioned wearing a little mask.
Balaclava.
And of course, in like Point Break, they're wearing the president's masks.
Of course.
In Heat, they have on like those hockey masks.
Of course.
If you were planning a heist, what masks would you and your crew wear? Would they all match, or would you have like a little theme?
It's a good question. There always seems to be a theme, but there's no reason for that at all. I don't think
it's just
to be
branding.
gained.
Much like everything, it's branding.
So if I've got a gang and we need branding, and we're like, I'm like, maybe T Public, we get some shirts made. They're like, no, it's got to be masks. Okay.
Yeah, I think like my crew would be like a bachelorette party, and we'd all have like little sashes on. They're like team robbery.
I just saw the bad masks from like what's that store in the mall that sells fake vomit and stuff? Spencer's.
Oh yeah.
I just get a mask that's got like fake boogers hanging out of the nose. And
yeah.
stuff
So
like
the people you're robbing just like don't even want to look at you.
Be effective.
It would be effective. Yeah.
That's
my first instinct was everybody has a Muppet mask on. But I think I like the idea of it and the visual, but I think I would be more scared, like even more than the police or the FBI or any other law enforcement agency. I would be afraid of Disney's legal team finding me if I was committing crimes in a Muppet mask.
That's fair. They're pretty good. Pretty good at finding that stuff. How about just masks from a very specific drama?
Oh,
like Doubt. Or dressed
Yeah.
as the characters from Doubt.
Yeah.
You seen it? Come on.
Come on.
I have my doubts.
Yeah.
You loved it. Can I talk about some awkward banking stuff?
Yes, please.
Okay. Number 1 on the list. I've asked for this to not be the case anymore, but for whatever reason, it's still there. My bank account, my checking account, is co-signed by my mother.
Evan,
You too?
I have the same problem.
I can't get it undone. And I'm like, hey, look, I love my mama. She's always happy to come along with me on check cashing trips. But it's like at a certain point, I'm 36 years old, and I get this thing in the mail, just like a bank statement, and it has my mom's name on it too. I'm like, it feels... I should be able to get that taken off. I don't know that she knows that she's still attached to my banking account, but she listens, so now you know. I feel weird about it. That's that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have the same thing as my wife and I tried to combine our finances here, which is a project we started and then for some reason just like have let envelopes pile up on the counter in procrastination, but eventually that problem will be solved, but
Nice.
it's just a matter of actually doing it.
It's hard to do stuff sometimes.
It is. Sometimes you just like, you've worked your 40 hours a week and you're like, please just let me do nothing.
Absolutely.
And then the days go by, as that one song goes.
Days go by.
And you're like, where did all that time go? But it's because you worked too much.
Yeah.
In a society that doesn't care about you. Whoops.
Oops. There it goes.
Whoops.
Do you have a savings account?
No. I have it all in one account.
I do too. And here's the thing. I always want a savings account. I like the idea of that. Now, you know, I've got my work set up with a little 401k
Yeah, me too.
system. So that feels like, okay, I've got that covered. But you still want that, just like money that you're not touching that can accumulate, that if you have an emergency or something, it's like, oh yeah, I've got $2,000 in a savings account. My problem is I first opened a savings account when I was a teenager, probably, I guess like 18. I don't know when you're allowed to have your own, but obviously I still don't have my own checking account. But so to open up a savings account, they want you, that bank in particular is like, you have to at least put $200 in. So it's like, all right, I've got to save so that I can save, because I was broke at the time. Scrounging up $200 is not an easy feat. But so I would. And then pretty quickly something would come up and I'd need to take like 100 out or something. And then the savings account would close. It closes if it's under $200 for more than a month or whatever. I opened and closed savings account 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I'm not positive. But it's not something you could do online. You have to go into the bank every time. So I would go there and sit down with someone, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, sorry, we have to close your account. Can I open it back up again? And you could tell it's like, we don't want to. You're not using it correctly. But for that reason, I still don't have a savings account. And that sucks, I think.
Yeah, I went in to set up like through a different bank that is through my work. I went in because they had a higher like growth rate for your money and better rewards and stuff. So I went in to set up an account, and you know, they gave me the information, but it was like you had to go into this office. that was very far away from where I live. In fact, the only places that you could set it up were they only have like headquarters in like 3 states, I think. So I had to be out of the state to set it up, and then you can go into any bank and do banking through there, but you have to set it up in one of these other states. And so I go in there, I set it up, to open the account, you have to have $5 in there or whatever. So I put a little $5 in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, now to do everything, here's all your account information so that you can set your account up online and do all your online stuff that way. It's like, great. I go back and I try setting up the account, and the information apparently does not work. The system is like, we don't recognize any of this.
Damn.
And that was another thing where I just like let that sit for a long ass time, Evan.
Oh, hitting a roadblock in something like that is death to that project for a while.
Yes.
I understand that. Ugh, terrible.
Yeah. Do you have bank envy? Like, when you're at like a restaurant or something and everybody, puts down their cards to split it, 6, 7, 8 ways. And you see all the different places people bank at.
Yeah.
And, you're like, oh, you bank with Chase. Oh, you bank with Wells Fargo. You have a Bank of America. Like all these things. Do you ever feel either a superiority or an inferiority based on seeing your bank's card next to cards of friends or coworkers?
No. Well, sometimes. The thing is, listen, credit cards are bad. You shouldn't have them, but I have many of them. A credit card, even though I know that, and I'm like, yeah, I've got credit debt, I'm still paying off. I see like a really nice looking, like a black card or just a whole steel card. I'm like, ooh, I bet you get some cool rewards on that. I'll get envious of that. But my debit card, my bank just makes really pretty cards. There's like art on them. Everyone, whenever I pay for something, they're like, that's the most beautiful card I've ever seen. How'd you get that done? I was like, I just banked there. This is the card that comes in the mail. So
wow,
it's not high like class or anything. It's a smaller bank. I don't know that like saying my bank would help people hack me. I guess I'm avoiding saying what bank I'm at. Maybe I don't know how to hack. Listen, I can rob a bank. I don't think I could hack someone's bank account.
Yeah, I definitely could not hack a convenience store.
Well, would you steal a car?
Do I think I could steal a car? No, I don't.
You wouldn't steal a car, would you?
If it's strictly in the sense of stealing a movie, yes. If anything, I think I read somewhere that ad campaign actually like increased the number of
I'm absolutely certain.
It's interesting how you see a nice steel credit card and you're like, wow, and then you see a steel Cybertruck out on the road and you're like, this is disgusting.
Yeah. Then you see steel with Shaquille O'Neal and you're like, that's all right.
This exists.
Yeah.
I have definitely and I don't know why. I think it's just narcissism, maybe. But I've definitely, we've all put down our cards and, cards on the table, as they say. And I've definitely been like, well, my bank's the best. It's like, I have no justification for it. My bank is one of, if not the most common bank, I feel like. But I do, see the other options out there, and I'm like, oh no, couldn't be me. I have the best one.
It's interesting because I've always kind of been the same. I like my bank; they've been good to me. Everyone I've met like hates their bank, and I get hating the bank in general. It's a questionable system, but I'm not keeping money under my mattress, etc., etc. I did briefly. I briefly took out not a lot of money, a few $100s, and was like, I'm keeping this in my sock drawer. And it stayed there. So that's nice. That was my savings account for a while. But no, most people I talk to hate their bank for some reason or another. But I am just like, yeah, I like my bank.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't had many problems with my bank. But there are two things that have been happening semi-recently that I'm not crazy about.
Oh, man.
And you've talked about going into the bank and being like, what are all these other people doing in here?
Yes.
I have had that same thing because I go in, I get my quarters, and I get out. But I see other people in there doing more complicated things. But I also see those like banking, financial consultant people just sitting at their desks with no customers or whatever to talk to.
Yeah.
And recently I've been getting phone calls that are like, hey, this is so-and-so. You're a banking consultant from your local thing. Just calling to say hi. Just want to, maybe schedule a little meeting with you. See what we can, what we can do. Like, I don't want any part of this.
No, that's fun though.
I just want the quarters, man. That's nice. All I want.
It's nice to feel wanted.
It is, but I think like wanted by a business is not different than wanted by a person. Because it feels like, I mean, is the bank a business? I don't even know if it qualifies as that, but I don't know. There's just, my fear is I go in there and they're like, this money we've been watching, what if we took some of it? Like that. Yeah. I don't think that's what would happen, but that's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
I guess it could happen.
I don't know. Interesting. I guess as a person who, when I was younger, did store money in my sock drawer, like, I get that. I get that kind of libertarian mindset of like, can't trust the banks. I'm a defeatist. Just go like, but it's kind of how everything works now. Especially now as we go further and further into the future, more and more cashless things. Yeah. I never thought I would be willing to sign up for like Apple Pay or something like that, where I'm just like, it's in my phone. I could pay for stuff that way, because I'm skeptical of that. Because I've been scammed before. The old QFC. Which one's which? QVC is the video.
QVC
network.
Is the like shopping channel.
QFC, grocery store in Seattle. I've probably told this, but someone had like just placed like a thin layer of electronic tape something on the inside of all the debit machines, so everyone who went there that day and you swiped, they got your info.
Yeah.
It sucked. I've had that happen twice.
Yeah. It does suck, the number of scammers out there.
Bad actors.
Yeah. The other thing that's I've found annoying about my bank recently is perhaps not even my bank's fault. I have to look into this a little bit more, but as you mentioned, I did hit a roadblock, and so when I figure this out, I'm not sure. But I don't know if you remember, like a year or two ago, everybody in California under a certain tax bracket got a little California debit card with some refund amount of money on it.
That's right.
I never received one, so I was like, maybe I didn't qualify, or maybe um maybe there was some reason that I didn't get it, but
They
I
don't
don't
want
know how
you.
to find out what that is. Fast forward to like over a year later, I get a thing in the mail that's like, hey, you never activated your card, man. It's like, you never sent one to me. I believe they sent it to my old address, and that's why I never received it. So I got one in the mail, a replacement card, and now I have to get the money off of that card and into my account. And I apparently it used to be a very easy online transfer.
It
They have
was.
removed the online transfer function.
That makes sense.
You have to go somewhere to get this to happen. I went to my bank. It was closed, so I went to just the ATM. So I was like, let me just withdraw the cash and put it in to my account. And I don't know if it's an issue with the card, the PIN, or my bank's ATM, but
boy.
it would not let me make that happen. And so now I'm stuck trying to play Sherlock Holmes.
That sucks.
I don't want to play cop. I want to play robber.
Yeah.
And this is a real detriment to my imagination.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
And you can
Let me
take
have some
that to the
money.
bank.
It is tough if you can't even just legally get money out of your own bank. The bank robbery would probably be tough. On the subject of things I'm not enjoying about my bank, the first thing I was with a bank. My grandmother set me up with an account when I was a kid. And then when I was old enough, I inherited it. Probably why my mom's name is still on it. And then that bank got bought and changed to a different bank. Long story short, this is the same bank I've been with my entire life that I've been banking. And like you say, I've never really had a problem with them. The problems, which I think is the problem a lot of people have with their banks, the problems I have run into is like when I was a teenager and like, overdraft, 6 overdraft fees, and having to go like, calling in. And this is a sidetrack, but anytime I'd have to call in for something like that, like just asking for mercy, like, I get it, I fucked up, but this automatic payment went through. I didn't realize that was going to happen. That's on me. But maybe just hit me with one overdraft fee instead of $300 worth of overdraft fees. So I'm poor for the next 2 months. But the person, when I would call in, because my home bank was there, it was always the woman who worked at the bank in Elma. And so she knew me personally. So she was always disappointed in me. It was like, well, you've really got to keep an eye on your finances. Like, we can't keep doing this for you forever. She was very sweet. R.I.P. I wish I remembered her name, but I was
still rest in power, Queen.
Damn straight. But what's happening now relates to this very podcast, believe it or not. So if you haven't been able to tell, we don't record in person anymore. Chris is an AI, and I'm just slowly losing my mind.
Yep.
No, we record over a program called Riverside. Think of it like Zoom, but for podcasts. So I pay a monthly fee, and we're able to record directly to this. It stores all our files there. We can pull clips through here, et cetera, et cetera. Nice deal. We've been doing this on Riverside for years now, right?
Yes.
I don't know how many years. I'm going to guesstimate 2.
Yeah, that sounds
maybe
about
more.
Right.
Every month, my bank declines that automatic payment. I get a text message that's like, we've detected suspicious activity. Do you have time to go over this? And I text back, yes. And they're like, did you try to send money to Riverside? What is it? And I say, yes. Cool. Well, we declined it, so, try it again. Every fucking month. And I don't know, like, it's to the point now. It's been years. And again, I haven't done anything about it. That's on me. But, like, what can I do about, like, if I call into a bank and talk to someone, can they stop this and just go like, oh yeah, clearly Evan makes this payment every month and that's not a big deal?
Yeah. Maybe your bank is trying to shame you out of podcasting.
Could be.
I think they're like, too many podcasts out there.
Sure.
Let's just cancel this transaction.
You sure that's what you want to be spending your money on? Don't see a lot of money coming back in. We're just looking out for you.
I haven't had like overdraft fees, but I have had my bank just like decide to like refuse a transaction. Just cause they're like, you don't normally spend $400 at Marshall's. It's like, yeah, but I'm buying a piece of furniture. So
the big one for me is people always say this, but I never do it, is like, when you're traveling, you should tell your bank. And I never think to. And then I get like, the first time I went to Las Vegas, again, I was young and bad with my money, but like, they just shut my card down completely. I'd already taken some cash out, which was part of what flagged it for them. But it's like, I spent money on a plane.
Right.
That plane going from Seattle to Las Vegas. Can't we make some leaps and just assume Evan's gone to Vegas for a little bit and took out $200, God forbid?
Yeah, it's one thing when they like send you something that's like, hey, we think this is suspicious. Can you confirm or deny it? Love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's when they decide it's suspicious.
Make a sweeping call.
Yeah.
You're done spending money. We know you never leave the house. I hate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was over a weekend, and they just sent it into a like, oh, well, okay, we'll send you a new debit card. So about a week later, got that. I'm like, why? Why'd you do this? Spend money in Vegas.
I have a final question for you, Evan.
Final answer.
Did you ever have a piggy bank?
You know what I did have? Already this is a lie. I did not have one of these. But you know what I wanted and liked, and I think I've mentioned it on a previous episode. I guess to answer
one of
your
those
question,
coin counting machines.
Oh, that too. I briefly did have a piggy bank. It's weird that all media, the mainstream media gets in your head, and they make you think you break the piggy bank, and that's how you get the money. There's a cork on the bottom.
Yeah,
I can just get the money out.
Right.
So yeah, I did have a piggy bank for a while. I don't think much was accumulated in there, or was there? And is that what I used to buy my Nintendo 64? I don't remember. My memories are bad. I'm talking about the little robot. And if I remember, you hadn't heard of this. It's a little robot.
Yeah.
Which, who doesn't love a little robot?
Of course.
He's holding his hand out like this. And you just put a coin in there, and he goes, and eats the coins. And then his tongue comes out and goes, wow, wow, wow. It fucking rules. I wanted as many little robots as I could have as a kid. So that was at my great aunt's house. I don't know why they had it, but they did, and I wanted it.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I had a piggy bank, but it's also like the mainstream media also makes you think that like it's always just like a pink pig. And like I
Yes.
did not have that. I had something else, but with the little coin slot that you put the money in. I just don't remember what I had, but I know it wasn't a pig. I'm sure it was some like, the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo or something like that, or
Yeah.
some like Disneyland ride created as like a little piggy bank and you put stuff in there. Oh, yeah, no, I've definitely never seen this. Anyone listening to the podcast on YouTube at
Roby the
How Do We
robot.
Human, Evan has pulled up an image of the robot he is that he
It's cute as
yearns
hell.
for. Yeah. It is cute. I can now understand, because like I
gotta
think
get
I
me
was
one of
picturing
these.
something like speaking of Nintendo, but like Rob, that's kind of like what I was
Sure.
picturing, and I was like, I don't know why, other than like kids like robots, I don't know
It's true.
why that would be that big of a deal, but no, I
It was a
do
big
agree
deal.
that that robot in particular is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Uh, what have we learned, Evan? Anything?
I don't know. The banks are in transition. Let's get like Wall Street on this.
Yeah.
It's almost like media streaming and shit like that. Everything feels like it's in transition right now. But we're in a spot where it's like 99% of shit that I need the bank for, I should be able to do online. I can't. They make it so you will have to go in once every 10 years or so. But it's like everything related to my bank account is old now. My checks, I
Yeah.
have checks, and the address is my Seattle address because I have never used all of them.
Yep. I have the same thing where my checks are have my Arizona address, and every time I have to fill out a check, which is once every
Yes.
6-7 years, I have to really think about the right way to fill it out.
Yeah.
And by
That
really
was
think about, I mean Google.
Yeah. We were taught that by Mr. Arnold. It was a math class, and he set up Arnoldville, where we had to have bank accounts and jobs and stuff like that. But part of that was teaching us how to fill out a check. Genuinely the most helpful class I
Yeah,
was ever
sounds like
in.
it.
And that was, I think, the 6th grade.
It's like addressing an envelope for me, where like I
mhm.
know how to do it, but maybe I need just a quick like verification that I'm putting the stamp in the right place or whatever.
I know how to do it, but that doesn't mean I can't still get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
Writing out checks more so for me. I feel like
Yeah.
I write a lot of envelopes for some reason, comes up. But checks having to, it's like you put the number there and then you have to write it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
You gotta
weird,
draw a
it's
line
weird.
all the way through. It's weird.
Gotta draw the line or else. And then you gotta put the cents as and ampersand 0 over 100. The fuck is this antiquated shit?
Yeah.
I don't know. But you know what else is antiquated shit?
Social media.
Us.
Oh.
And this podcast. We've been doing this for 290 some episodes. I forget the number. I think this is 292.
I believe so.
And we thank you for listening and hope you come back. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. You can reach out and touch us, as we said. We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, full video on YouTube. Those are all at HowDoWeHuman. You just go to our website, howdowehuman.com. We're everywhere. You can email us, howdowehumanpod@gmail.com. This is all good shit, and this is shit you can do. And you'll like the way you look.
That's right.
I guarantee it. Hey, baby.
Hey.
You're
Well,
gonna like the way you look.
let's summon the last part of this episode.
All right.
We've been doing
Quizzle,
a little
quizzle,
trivia. Quizzle. Here it comes. We're gonna answer 5 questions and see how we do. The score, as a reminder, is currently Evan in the lead with 12 points, and I have 9 points.
I don't like it. I like being in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I believe we'll see if this goes the same way as our last matchup where I was in the lead the entire run. Maybe you'll be in the lead the entire run as we play to 100. Do you feel like that's gonna happen for you, Evan?
Well, I mean, as I said, I am under the weather and feeling slow. So, yeah, I think I'm going to kick your ass.
Question number 1. What is jaggery used in Indian cooking? Onion and garlic mix, pepper, sugar, or curry paste?
I might know this.
I should know this, but I don't.
I've done some Indian cooking here and there. I've got my answer. I'm locking it in.
Okay, I should know this. I am going to have an Indian brother-in-law. I'm going to go to India for like 3 weeks in a couple months. I should know this. I don't. I'm picking my answer. I've locked it in. My answer's pepper.
My answer is sugar.
Okay, let's see.
Azúcar itself.
You were correct, Evan. Sugar was the correct answer.
Sugar! System of a Down. Let's go. Where did Barack Obama teach... Hey, baby, where Barack Obama teach constitutional law? The University of Pennsylvania, the University of Chicago, New York University, or Johns Hopkins University? This is tough. I did not know he taught.
At first I'd like to say I've come around, and I do think this is a good Beetlejuice impression.
Hell yeah.
I'm not confident in my own, which is why I've stopped doing it. I have my answer. I also didn't know that he taught constitutional law. I have my answer, and I'm not confident in it.
No, yeah, because it's like I know...
It could be any of these four, as far as I know.
To school. I don't know that he taught where he went to school. I feel like there's a reason to think he would have taught somewhere else, but maybe I'm overthinking it. I'll go simple. I'm going to say University of Chicago.
Okay, I'm going to go Johns Hopkins University.
That was my second answer. Oh, I hope you're not right. Yay!
No, you were correct.
I knew it smelled. I'm getting better at this with Quizzle. It smelled too much like a trick.
That's the thing is I haven't gotten to that point yet where I can recognize the trick. I instead fall for the trick every time. Question 3. What company makes the Butterfinger bar? Mars Wrigley, Nestle, Mondelez, or Ferrero?
Now listen. I had a Butterfinger bar yesterday. For better or worse, I had to go to the hardware store, get some wood. And along with that wood, I got a king-size Butterfinger. Because this was after my physical. And I'm like, okay, I'm not that dying.
Let's push
king-size Butterfinger it is. Let's push it. I feel 100% confidence I know the answer to this.
Okay, I am not confident. As we've discussed in our past candy episodes, I don't care for the Butterfinger bar. I have my answer, though. I'm going to go with Nestle.
Yeah, I believe it is Nestle.
All right, we both got that correct.
And I stand by the Fifth Avenue bar. It's like Hershey's version of a Butterfinger, and it's way better. Less hard, more crispy. Oof, it's good shit. Oh, man, I know the answer to this. I'm watching this right now. What object of Dwight's did Jim put in Jell-O on the TV show The Office? Was it a phone, a mouse, a stapler, or a hole punch?
I believe this is the iconic scene with the stapler.
I believe it is. If they really wanted to fuck with people, they would have said, what object of Gareth's did Tim put in Jell-O on the TV show The Office? Because the answer is the same.
Whoa. Stapler for both of us. We both get that right. Evan, I don't want to pressure you again, but if you get this one right, you'll have gotten all 5 correct.
Let's go, baby.
What does the R stand for on the rating of a movie? Restrain, racy, raunchy, or restricted?
Okay, I feel like this is easy.
I feel like I know this 100%, and so if I get it wrong, I'm going to be pissed off.
I'm going to say restricted.
Yes, me as well. Congratulations, Evan. You got 5 out of 5 correct and expand your lead.
Yeah, and you know why? Because it was showtime, baby.
It was showtime.
That's slipping into Elvis a little. I
Thank
mean, he
you.
is just
Thank you
kind
very
of a gravelly, gravelly Elvis.
So now the score, I go to 12, and Evan, you now are at 17 points.
All right, I'm staying alive. Do you know I rewatched Beetlejuice recently?
Really?
Yeah. Would you believe it? Have I seen the new one? Of course not. I'm bad at seeing new movies now. But I did rewatch Beetlejuice. Strange movie. It's a good time. Very strange movie.
Very
though.
strange.
Anyways.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, bye, baby. That's getting worse.